Welcome everybody on this early Saturday morning here. It's Rich, welcome back to Fast and Fun channel, and we're packing for another road trip. But as you can see, just packing a few bags into the back of the STI. I'm taking the STI, a long weekend, Saturday, Sunday, going to cover about 500 miles in mid and South Wales. So 9 of us going in 8 cars, a real mix from the 80s all the way through to modern day stuff. French, German and Japanese cars. So we've got a real nice blended mix of sports cars for this road trip. Really excited. We're hunting for the best UK roads, I think, certainly in regard to England and Wales. I'm taking the STI because I've took all the other cars up to Wales this year, not the STI. I've done just under 2,000 miles since I bought it almost a year ago. So I'm going to probably do 25% of its usage in the next 2 days. Weather forecast is good today, which is the Saturday. So it's dry, fine, clear. Looks like it's going to be wet on Sunday, but that sometimes is sometimes it's a positive, because then the roads are much quieter. I've fitted only this week 4 brand new Michelin Pilot Sport 5s. So I don't know if anyone's fitted 5s onto the STI before. So you can't fit it was either 4s or 5s. You can't fit the 4S's because the wheels are only 17. You've got to be 18s and bigger. So Michelin Pilot 5s have gone on there. See what they're like, both in dry today and probably wet conditions tomorrow. Just wanted to show you the route though that we're going on. So come up this way. So we're going to be leaving Ross and Wye here, meandering his way out through Monmouthshire, Herefordshire. But the first road we're hunting out is this one, and this runs from sort of just north of Abergavenny, and it goes over the Black Mountains, and it's called up to Hay-on-Wye in the north, and it's called the Gospel Pass. This is not the best driving road, far from it. It gets very, very narrow and steep near the top, but I'm mostly going up there because around about this sort of site here, it's a sort of 500 metres, really high altitude, and you get fabulous views, both south, looking back down the Black Mountain Valley that you've passed up, and also north up over Hay-on-Wye and the surrounding countryside. So that's a road we're going to go on first. And then we're going to go off a little short sprint on the A470 up through Bwylf. And then, let me just find the next page. And then we're going to really cover this sort of large area in central Wales. What you've got is Aberystwyth is on the sort of west coast. You've got sort of Raider here on the east, and at the north Machlenlith, and at the south you've got sort of Llandovery or Llandovery. And this whole area is really, really great. If you go too far west around Aberystwyth, it gets very busy. But this sort of area here is really, really quiet. So we're going to take on some great roads. Most of them I know very well. Elan Valley's in the middle here, but you've also got a couple of great roads. Well, this road here is fantastic actually, from Llandudno's up into Machlenlith. One I haven't done before is this road here out of Talybont and up round this reservoir here, Nantimwch Reservoir. I've never done that. Looks single track. We're going to come back through Devil's Bridge, and then we're going to shoot down to Llandovery before a run up into around Lyn Bryn Reservoir here, and then we've got a cottage really in the middle of nowhere, which I'll talk about later on in the road trip. That's what the plan is for today, Saturday. As I say, tomorrow after our overnight, we're heading south down to the Brecon Beacons, Black Mountains, etc., to look at South Wales. So we need to get the cars packed, get going, because we're supposed to be meeting in Ross very, very soon. So we've just arrived at the top of the Gospel Pass. The road isn't the best driver's road coming up here. It's very narrow, it's potholed, there's not many overtaking opportunities, so it's actually all quite difficult. But when you get to the top, you are greeted with wonderful views. That's Bluff Knoll there. So we've come from the south to north. Hale Wise is where you're going to drop back down onto the northern side of Hay Bluff. Views absolutely fantastic. All the cars okay, few little overheating issues with the Mark II Golf, but we've all made it to the top, the first rendezvous stop, and now it's down the hill into Hay, and then we're going ahead over to Bwylf in mid Wales. We're just after lunchtime now on the first day. Epic so far. We've had a few light showers, but mostly it's been dry. The roads just sort of damp in places and dry in other places. The Michelin PS5s, just getting used to them. They're just a little bit of movement in them. Just feel the car sliding at times, but we are pushing on, so probably to be expected. This is one of the few roads over the 2 days that I've never been on before, so this is yeah, so you can see the guys ahead just chasing down that Mark II Golf. The big issue has been at the moment is trying to hunt for super unleaded. We stopped at the main Esso garage on the A470, which is the main trunk road between that runs all north-south through Wales, between Bwylf and Raider, and unbelievably, it doesn't sell flipping super unleaded, so which is a bit of a disappointment. So we've settled on a BP garage, I know. Obviously that's only 97 RON, not ideal. Most of the cars want to be on 99 nearly, and that BP garage is about 5 miles north of Devil's Bridge, so that's where we're heading to next. Not that it's getting desperate in here, but the STI has never been one for being the most efficient with its fuel. I'm down at a quarter of a tank now, so we are hunting for this BP to at least get some 97 RON into the car. 155 miles I've done, which I have to say isn't great. So I don't know what that's going to equate to. Probably high teens, I'd have thought. So that's what we're doing. Weather's staying dry. Never been on this road before, and it's been quite a. It's all. This road's all single lane, but it's quite a very quiet road. We've just met a handful, 2 or 3 cars on the road. There is one bad part though that just caused the car to jump. A few moments for a few of the guys that I hit it first actually, and took me by surprise. The road just went away. So, but fortunately, no one ground out, which is good. And I mean, these roads, this is what the Scoopy's been built for, really. And the scenery is absolutely stunning. It really is. And because the single track roads, you've just got to go with that little bit of sense of caution, which is, I think, always a good thing. We've got fuel at last. Flipping, that was it's a real pain sometimes coming into Mid Wales. What's one of the negatives is that there's very few garages that sell super unleaded. Certainly in this central belt of Mid Wales that we're in today. The only one that I know is the BP garage, which is about 5 miles north of Devil's Bridge in a village. That's obviously limited to BP Ultimate, which is 97 RON. It's just over 16 miles per gallon for the STI. Cringing really, they're doing about 160 miles ish to a tank. That's leaving sort of just below quarter left in the tank, so not great MPG, but that's more around the way the car, or way that we've been driving the cars rather than the actual car itself. But other than that, I mean, we set off very early this morning, and one of the things that the STI is brilliant at is comfort. The seats in particular, what they do between the balance between sport and comfort, absolutely nailed on, because I just feel so comfortable still in the car, even though I've been in it hours and hours so far. One thing you forget, and it didn't really dawn on me when I set this road trip up here coming into Wales, was that of the 8 cars here, the STI is the second oldest car here by some way. So obviously the Mark II Golf's by far the oldest, but yeah, the STI is the second oldest car here. It doesn't feel old. It doesn't look old, I don't think. It still looks, I think, refreshing. Its performance is still on par with all this modern machinery as well, and the way it delivers power and smiles per mile, it's just a fabulous car, and everyone's got a comment about it. Everyone's positive about the STI. I think they've got through that stage of being a little bit boy racerish now, and I think most people look at the STI as a real true performance icon. over the last 20 or 30 years, really. The guys have been saying when they're following me, and I'm on full attack, as it were, the quote was, "It sounds like you're following a tornado." The noise that the STI is kicking out of the exhaust is apparently is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if any of the external video will pick up on that, but I really hope so. Yeah. So apparently it sounds like a tornado when you're following it. And more you drive up here, more you realise how brilliant these roads are here in Wales. The scenery is spectacular. You've got every type of road. Making his way down this forest track to the cottage. I thought I knew where the cottage was. I got the wrong cottage. I went to somewhere that it wasn't there. We've had to come on a bit of a detour of a few miles to find out the cottage is down the end of this, well, it's about 1 kilometre, I believe, forest track. And some of the guys are not best pleased because the Megane and the Mark II Golf, they're all relatively low to the ground, and we've got about, 1 kilometre to get down this rocky rubble road. So we've just arrived at the hostel here in what can only be described as fabulous area of outstanding natural beauty, really. What a job to try to find the hostel. We went about 5 miles down the road somewhere else. Fortunately, we found a couple of campers that told us where the hostel is. We've done a big loop, and then it finishes off with a 1 mile track down a broken lane to eventually get here. But the scenery is absolutely stunning. Look at the selection of cars as well. What a fabulous day. I mean, things like this, the modern day Golf GTI, it has been relentless. They're so quick, these turbocharged, modern. This is a Mark 7.5. This, probably the most impressive car of the lot, the FK8 Civic Type R, an absolute monster. This at 316 brake horsepower, track bias tyres, unbelievably quick cars, but they've all done brilliantly well in their own right. If you come into this area, as I say, this hostel, you just follow me through this, well, I say a car park. I mean, just look at the views there. We're right up into the mountains. It's absolutely spectacular. But this hostel, there's a few things that I've only just dropped on the guys when we've arrived. Minor things really, like there's no electricity, therefore there's no Wi-Fi, and there's no telephone signal, and therefore there's no 4G either. So you are completely cut off from the outside. Lighting is through solar panels, which give off these little lights put around the hostel that give really dim lighting, and then the hot water is fed by the solar panel. But because it's been really raining and overcast and drizzly all day, we've hardly got any hot water, so it's going to be cold showers for everybody. But come down here. This is the way down through the, well, I suppose it's a garden or orchard. And this old, I think, farmhouse it would have been, many, well, it must date back several hundred years, you'd have thought. There's an on-site warden here, Dolbotch cottage it is. It sleeps 20, and if you get that many for 9 people, it's come out at about 30 something pounds each, so really cheap. And if we just, I don't know if we can walk around the side here and look at it, that's the entrance. But I think if you want to just get away, then what a perfect place to come. And again, if the weather had been nice, look at this here, this whitewashed stone cottage, and just look at the setting here. It's absolutely fantastic, and we're all ready. We've got food cooking, we've got beers flowing. When you get these sports cars, when you get these performance cars, you go on these road trips, these long weekends away, it's not just about the cars, it's not just about speed, but it's about the social aspect. It's about coming to places like this that we wouldn't do if we weren't all brilliant petrol heads. Right, that's enough of the cottage, the cars. I've got a beer waiting and some food, and you'll see me sometime in the morning, probably, the forecast is, in the rain.